What is going on with the Bay Area real estate market in 2024? Are you thinking about making a move to either buy, sell, or invest in the Bay Area real estate market? You're going to want to tune into the end of this video because we're going to go over everything that has been transpiring over the last month, but also some leading indicators as to where we're likely to see the market today. My name is Spencer Sue, and in the last 5 years, I've been able to help over 200 people with their moves in the Bay. So I look forward to help you every step of the way. If you want to set up a consultation, just send me a DM or find my contact details below and let's set up a time. Let's take a look at the market numbers itself when it comes to home prices. We see that the December had ended the year on the decline, and this is pretty common for most Decembers. Let's take a look at recent history. You can see last December of 2022, it's been declined from November all the way up to January. Now, when does it start turning around typically? It does usually start to turn around in February. Now, think about these stats. How does something become public? Usually it takes 30 days to close. So most of the time, these are all a 30-day laggard. So they're all transactions from the previous month. Now, because December is usually the slowest time of the year, December transactions that are pending go into the sale numbers of January. So don't be surprised that January figures may still be lower because it's from the December transactions. And December numbers are from the November transactions. Now, while they may have been lower, it is still a little bit higher than it was in last December. And it still does really depend on property by property. Now, the biggest things that we'll see is a lot of people ask, hey, look, Spencer, I didn't find very much homes. I tell people, look, if you were around during the December and even right now in January, it's a good time to actively look, but don't be surprised. You're going to see significantly less homes come on the market during this time. Now, don't be too discouraged because at least you have the opportunity to get things at arguably some of the best prices of the year. You can see what happens pretty quickly. The March of last year was when things have picked up tremendously. And remember, those were February transactions. And then things continued to increase tremendously through the spring, June time. And this is the stat of all Bay Area counties of Alameda, San Francisco, San Mateo, Santa Clara County. Now, for those of you have been looking and you may be looking right now and you're like, look, I'm not seeing a lot of homes. There are usually two reasons for that. One is generally there is a lot less homes that come on the market during this time. Take a look at these stats. December, there was a total of 1,218 homes. Compare that to last December, it was a little bit more, but it's kind of normal. Now, when you get comparing to the busy times of the year, like March, April, May, you'll be looking at roughly about 3 times the amount of homes. Now, this does not mean that there is no homes for sale. It just means there are significantly less. So don't be too disappointed for that. Now, you also have to consider, are you looking in the right areas? So what I like to do, and when I meet with new people or if I meet with others, take a look at the last 3 months. The last 3 months would have been more than just one of these months down the road. Now, the last 3 months also gives you a pretty good indication of the areas you should be considering. In the last 3 months, how many homes were in the market that you were actively looking for or hoping for? And are they aligned? So, what I usually do when I meet with clients is I say, look, what is your budget? Okay, your budget, let's say it's $2 million. I'm looking at a single family. I want good schools. Okay, which cities are you looking at? They're like, I'm looking in Palo Alto. Initially in my head, and in probably in your head, you may be like, that's not even realistic. But some people don't know. And this is just an example. What if you're looking in San Jose, you're looking in San Mateo, you're looking in Dublin, like wherever the place is, you may not have known that that wasn't realistic. But I know all of the places. So it's important for you to also understand that. I mean, like, look, unfortunately, the median price in Palo Alto is $3.7 million. So your budget of $2 million is not realistic there. However, have you thought about the southern parts of San Jose? Have you thought about Dublin? Have you thought about Pleasanton, right? These are areas that are in that medium sweet spot that will then allow you to be successful, even if you're, especially if you're trying to take advantage of of the lowest prices of the year, but also the lowest amount of homes for the year. So these are the things to be mindful of as you are actively looking for places. Now, let's take a look at some other stats too. I wanted to share with you the number of I want to share with you the ratio. So the sales price to list price ratio during this time. So you can see that even though there wasn't that many transactions, you can see the average ratio from sale price to list price is 102%. But wait a minute, didn't you just see the stats? You just saw the stats that the median prices was actually significantly lower than the previous months. So don't be discouraged or don't be affected when the list price is not equal to sale price. The list price is not the actual price of where it should usually go. Most will price it lower on purpose to get more buyers, but it still didn't go like over the previous months. So just be mindful of that as you go through the search, but you still also want to just see what have other homes gone for. And as long as you're looking in that bucket, you should be doing fine. So this is the general stats of the Bay Area. Usually I cover like the individual ones, but moving forward, I'm just going to cover it in general as a macro. I'm going to be sharing with you some of my thoughts, but also important, I'm going to give you some general updates about other things that could be impacting and what this year could look like. Many people have always said the Bay Area is always a laggard of the stock market. Well, if that's your thesis, and it has been a pretty good accurate assessment, then what should we be expecting throughout the year? We should be expecting a giant roar in the Bay Area. Because for many of you that have not seen or known, the S&P market went up 24% this year, or I guess in 2023. There was a lot more access to capital. A lot more people had more money now than they had before. Take a look at what had occurred, though. Right, it really occurred in the end of October. And what happened? What caused this huge increase of 600 basis points, or sorry, 600 points on the index over this time? That was because the Fed had announced that they were going to do many rate cuts. And that is why things have absolutely roared up. Now, this has not impacted the real estate market yet, but don't be surprised that it would be. Now, look at the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ went up 44% in 2023. Absolutely incredible numbers. Now, a lot of people have thought, look, I'm concerned about my job and I'm concerned about these different things. That's absolutely true. That could be a possibility. But a lot of people have also not been tracking and realized, look, the general markets have done incredibly well. And if you were in the Magnificent Seven, so especially a lot of the big tech companies here in the Bay, those numbers have been even far greater than this. As the index of the top 7 of those companies, they have increased over 95% in the last year alone. So do you think a lot of people don't have a lot more liquidity and a lot more access to capital now than before? The answer is definitely yes. And so the question is, will this roll over into real estate? I think it should, and it will likely be. How can you tell? Just go look and buy a home right now. You're going to see a lot more buyers in the market, rightfully so. A lot of things have been better. Rates have dropped. Your stocks have all done really well, as long as you did not just. I mean, even if you just left it in your money market account at 5%, you would have still done better. But if you didn't and you invested in the market, you would have done really well. You would have significantly more money. So these are all factors that it appears that we should have a much more buyers now than last year. Now, I would also suspect there should be more sellers, because sellers will see the value of the homes typically go do better. And for that reason, they may also be more active in selling the place. But the downside is most people would either try to sell it to buy another place, or they may just rent out their current one out and then be buying the next place. So we'll see. But either way, I think we're going to get more. In general, we're going to get more listings than last year for all these reasons. Now, let's take a look at mortgage rates. So take a look at how things have absolutely completely changed. Very similar to when the stock markets roared, right? Look at the rates in October 26, 2023. It went up to on an average of 7.8%. And then it dropped significantly to what it is today at 6.6%. This is about 1.2%. Now, this is what the numbers are on a macro, but it's not actually what you'll get locally. The numbers are actually far better locally. Typically, locally, you're going to be beating this by about 0.5% to 0.75%. So take a look at just on what the yields are, or what the rates are on Wells Fargo's public website. You can see if you went with a jumbo arm lock it for 7 years is 6%. This is jumbo, If you're doing conforming loans, it could be as low as in the low sixes. Typically, mortgage brokers are stronger on the conforming side. So I've seen the low sixes are pretty reasonable. So as you can see, they're typically about 0.5% to 0.75% better than those public stats you typically see. So because of this, there's been a lot more activity of buyers getting back into the market. They've been waiting long enough. Prices aren't necessarily going down outside of seasonality. And so they're getting back into the market to hopefully accomplish their moves. So if you're thinking about buying or selling a place and this has been a helpful video, please reach out to me below. I would love to be your trusted real estate resource. You can reach out to me at spencer@spencerhsu.com. Contact details are below, and let's see how this year progresses. And the other thing I'm going to mention is every Thursday live, I'm going to be going over all the headline articles of Usually the Week. Now, this time, because we haven't done it in a long while, I'm going to be doing more. So we're going to be kind of covering all the things over the last month. So tune in Thursday at 7 p.m. live every week, and we're going to be going over this together. And it's going to be a live Q&A. So if you have any questions about specific areas, cities, the markets, any specific questions about your scenario, I'm going to pop that question up. I'm going to go over that so that others, I'm sure, are thinking of the same thing, can take benefit of that. See you in the next one. Bye now.